All right, everyone. Can you guys hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Welcome to the fifth Stanford Blockchain Accelerator demo day. We've got an awesome set of teams lined up for you. I'm Gil Rosen, and this is Stephen and Kuhn. Quick background on the Accelerator and us. The Accelerator is Stanford's only dedicated blockchain accelerator. It's a joint effort between the Stanford Blockchain Club and the Alumni Blockchain Club, and we incubate about 10 to 12 teams twice a year for 5 months, where one co-founder is either a Stanford student or alum. We've had over 65 teams go through the program now. They've collectively raised over 250 million. We've had a few unicorns and a number of category-defining teams, and it's been a ton of fun to really help build out the Stanford blockchain ecosystem. I'm Gil Rosen, president of the Accelerator and co-lead with Stephen and Kuhn. I'm a former founder turned investor, and was at business school and policy over at Stanford, and I co-teach a course on blockchain entrepreneurship with Stephen and Kuhn and Aaron as well, who you'll actually get to hear from later on today. And we also run Stanford's Blockchain Application Stanford Summit, which is the event series that throws kind of thought-leading blockchain events as side events to all the major events. We've got a couple big ones coming up. One is going to be at ETHCC, and another will be just before the Science of Blockchain conference this summer in August. With that, I'll just let Stephen and Kuhn introduce themselves, and we can get into the fun of the teams themselves.
Sweet, thanks, Gil, and hi everyone. Thanks for coming. Yep, Stephen, work with Gil and Kuhn on the Accelerator. I used to work at Coinbase. I used to work at Capital One. Been doing VC for a while. I live in San Francisco. Yeah, I love this job. Anyway, I'll keep it short. I'm looking forward to hearing from the teams.
Kuhn? Kuhn, did we lose
He looks
you?
frozen to me, so
Okay.
we'll let him introduce himself a little later.
All right, and one last thing I did want to note is that we are actually accepting applications for Cohort 6. So please apply. The site is sba.sites.stanford.edu. I will add that to the chat here. But if one of your co-founders is a Stanford student alum, we would love for you to apply to our upcoming cohort. And with that, why don't we get started? So our first presenter is Holke from Hypercerts, and Hypercerts is a really interesting project. It's slightly different than some of ours, and it kind of helps align funding for meaningful research and projects. So Holke, with that, it's very late for you out in Berlin, so thank you for joining us. But without further ado, we'll have to get started.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Let me share my screen. There we go. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Well, I'm Holke, the founder director of the Hypercerts Foundation, where we build open source protocols to fund and reward impact. What we observe is that researchers and impact entrepreneurs rely on bureaucratic systems of grant funding today, and that really stifles innovation. And ultimately, it also leads to a misallocation of resources. And resources, I mainly mean really capital and talent that is not deployed to really work on the most impactful things, such as AI safety research, open source infrastructure, but also something like journalism and nature regeneration. So all of these things are underfunded compared to what they should be funded, given the impact that they have for moving society forward and the impact that they could create for that. We also observe that there's a lack of innovation in how we actually coordinate these funding mechanisms. So we think that we can actually use modern coordination technology to improve this. To give you an example of what we mean with where there's things that are underfunded and could be very impactful, this is the innovation chasm that is adopted from Juan Benet from Protocol Labs, where Hypercerts as a project started. And the innovation chasm basically says that on the one hand, we have basic research and an incentive system that works somewhat okay there. And we have on the market side, when products go to market, also a fairly well working incentive system. But in the middle, where there's a development, we have actually a bottleneck. And this bottleneck needs to be solved, and needs to be solved also with new funding mechanisms. And this is where the idea of Hypercerts comes in, because what if the researchers and the entrepreneurs that work in this space where we really see this bottleneck could actually sell the impact that they have? And selling the impact means that they're selling the impact after they actually created the impact, and the impact is somewhat verified from independent evaluators. So the solution that we offer to this challenge is that we sell impact on modern marketplace infrastructures and create Hypercerts, where Hypercerts is what gets sold here. And a Hypercert captures the basic data, who did what when. So it captures the work that is supposed to be impactful, but it represents really the impact of this work. And the impact, as I said, is established through independent evaluators that post and submit data and evaluations to this Hypercert, and that is then visible publicly for different people to fund this research and this impactful work. Technically, it is an extension, Hypercert is an extension of an 1155 NFT, and the extension is that it is fractionalizable, so that multiple funders can actually own part of the same Hypercert. We did that because we really need to coordinate between different funders to fund that impact, especially if that impact has their impact on a larger set of an industry or something else, where it is not that it's just one funder is interested in funding this, but we as a collective are interested in funding this impact. To jump into one use case that we're working on is, how do we coordinate the funding for independent AI safety research? And this is something, of course, that in this room, everybody knows that we don't actually spend enough money and funds on AI safety research compared to the huge risk that we will face as societies. So the process here, which in a simplified way, would be that funders really commit to buying Hypercerts in the future. And this is a little bit similar to an advanced market mechanism, where in the second step, then AI safety researchers would create research artifacts and connect them to Hypercerts that get evaluated by independent evaluators, such that the buying process that happens then after the impact has been evaluated really informs this decision. The next step is that the Hypercert gets transferred also to the funders so that they can really prove their support for the independent AI safety research. Why would funders actually do that? There are multiple potential reasons for this. Could be prestige, industry norms and coordination, philanthropy, government regulation, but also new collective decision mechanisms, because ultimately this whole project is about large-scale cross-organizational coordination of research and impact. And if we can really push this forward, that how we create demand for these Hypercerts that represent AI safety research, then we have really changed the situation for AI safety researchers. Because if you do research and you know somebody will buy your Hypercert that represents the impact that you had, if it is established through independent evaluators, then you can do a different type of research and you have a different outlook on how you can fund your project. Here, a little side note that we really want to build we are building a protocol and not a platform. And this is because we believe that this mechanism works for a lot of different impact domains. We want to see many platforms where Hypercerts gets used as a decentralized impact database of the impactful work, but also of the evaluations, and that we then can connect all of these together and not create just like one big platform, one kind of Amazon for impact, but really an ecosystem of different funding mechanisms for the projects and their needs, because every project still needs like different ways of funding. They might sell the impact, but some aspects might still be grant funding. We have amazing contributors that develop the backend, the protocols, and also the front end for the first implementations, and had amazing advice and contributions from Juan Benet from Protocol Labs and Kevin Walker from Gitcoin, for example, and are really thankful and grateful for our funding sources and partners that really made this happen, that we are here so far. And this is an amazing time now if you're interested in joining this ecosystem, because in the beginning of July, we will release the Hypercerts marketplace. And if you want to join potentially as a funder, a project evaluator, or funding platform that wants to integrate Hypercerts, please get in touch. We are happy to hear from you, especially if it is in the impact domains of area safety or nature regeneration. That's it from me, and thank you also for the SBA team. It was really fun working with you.
Awesome, Holke, thank you so much. Definitely very excited to see kind of all the progress you're making, especially on the AI front. This is absolutely critical. Okay, next we have Sam Train from Mach, and Sam, let's promote you to co-host here. Oh, you are? Awesome, even better. And we're super excited for Sam and his team, awesomely smart folks, building a stablecoin Dex that is the fastest and lowest gas fee for any root on chain. But Sam, let's have you take it away.
Cool. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay. So I'm Sam Troutwan from the Mach team, or Tristero is like the parent co, but Mach is the product that we're pushing. So Mach, we view Mach as the future of on-chain liquidity. Liquidity in DeFi today is more or less stuck in individual chains, even though we live in a multi-chain world. How Mach, if you're trying to kind of do a transaction today between from any asset to any other asset in a multi-chain context, it often looks something like this. You start with an asset on one chain. You have to swap it into a bridgeable asset. Then you have to go to an intermediary chain. And from there, you have to swap into a bridgeable asset to get onto the chain you want to go. Then you swap it again into the asset you're trying to get to. This is a huge problem. We have hundreds of chains now, more chains are launching each day. And all these chains are trying to attract users to said chain. And so this problem is getting worse on a day-by-day basis. The two building blocks for on-chain liquidity today are DEXs and bridges. So DEXs let you convert between any two assets on one chain. Bridges let you move assets between chains. And so almost every function on-chain, every on-chain conversion basically uses one of these two structures. And going back, you can view this as just a series of DEXs and bridges that are daisy chained together to accomplish a goal. This creates a lot of friction, creates a lot of cost, and that's what we're trying to solve. So what we rolled out is the key innovation behind Mach is something we call optimistic settlement. Instead of using a cross-chain message for every trade, we only use cross-chain messages to challenge bad bills. This is the same logic behind optimistic rollups. And what's cool about this is that it allows for us to do atomic swaps that are trustless, near instant, and incredibly cheap. Each order, like under the hood, it's a order book, and every order only involves writing 512 bits to the chain, which is pretty small. It's 2 words for those familiar with Solidity development. And we can settle instantly. So settlement can occur as soon as 2 blocks. The reason this is safe is because if settlement doesn't occur, you can use the cross-chain messaging system to initiate a challenge which slashes stake from whoever filled the order for the taker. What's also cool with this architecture is that it's Oracle agnostic, meaning we can use any form of cross-chain messaging for the challenges, which lets us expand pretty rapidly in terms of chains we support. We can get into that in a second. Architecturally, we are also able to keep a lot of complexity, like non-critical complexity off-chain. So on-chain is settlement, central limit order book. Off-chain is quoting orchestration. This makes it highly configurable in terms of giving partners infrastructure they can use to accomplish their objectives. So if we look at how people are solving this problem today, there's kind of 2 different competing approaches. One is aggregation. So what aggregation does is it lets people, it's exactly what we had in the earlier diagram, where you're basically just daisy chaining transactions. So a user goes to something like socket or jumper, and they basically tell it what asset they want. Then the aggregator will propose a series of transactions that the user can sign in series to accomplish the end goal. This works okay. You're signing a bunch of transactions. The aggregators have to basically choose which liquidity sources they're using. And so it doesn't really, it's incredibly intensive for the aggregator to basically go and diligence and daisy chain each of these. And so it's pretty limited in its reach. You're also dealing with like a high degree of cost because you're paying for gas and you're paying for the fees for each of these venues, and it doesn't really let you, there's no easy way for it to tap off-chain liquidity. RFQ is kind of the opposite. RFQ systems like UniswapX or Matcha or Hashflow, they work well in terms of being able to leverage off-chain liquidity, but their finality is pretty poor. Most of them today are permissioned, and things like UniswapX aren't cross-chain yet. So in the interest of time, we'll like breeze over this. We're very focused on adding routes. Like the core KPI for us is basically how many routes we're supporting. And this is basically what we think is going to matter here longer term. We're turning on new chains each day. We're integrating with a lot of dApps, and our value proposition there is allowing dApps to onboard any user from any asset on any chain. We're also doing a lot of work with RWAs. RWA is the liquidity is off chain, the pricing is off chain. So they're well positioned for, and they're all multi-chain. A lot of them are multi-chain from day 0. So they're well positioned for, they have a lot of issues that things like Mach solve. Okay, now the fun part. Here is, so I'm going to put a link in the chat for a demo. If you go to the link I just shared, there's a faucet. You can claim $5 of USDM, which is a RWA. It's a tokenized treasury issued by Mountain. That we're working with them to just enable tighter spreads, better depth across all the chains they're listed on. And you can swap this using our optimistic system live into any other asset we support. I'd recommend USDC on Arbitrum, mostly just because base to Arbitrum's a pretty fast route. Oh crap, let me get the, here, sorry, let me put the right URL. I messed up the URL, my apologies. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so if you click the faucet, you should be able to claim your 5 USDM and start placing trades. Cross-chain is mostly, and this, like Vitalik had a great tweet about this 2 days ago, but cross-chain right now is huge bottleneck, but it's not something that's going to be solved via tech. It's going to be something that's going to be solved, or won't be solved directly via tech, because the rate at which we're adding new chains and assets will exceed basically our ability to catch up to these systems conventionally. It's going to be something, it's mostly a UX problem, and that's what we're focusing on solving. And you can use tech to basically enable better UX, but there's not going to be there's not going to be a single team that builds a cross-chain messaging system that fixes all this. It's going to be clever things like optimistic settlement that really enable us to have a seamless experience, moving moving users and value into onto new chains and into new assets. So far we've done 5.1 million in volume across like 700 routes. We're adding more routes each day. Here's a list of the chains that we have live and are getting live soon, as well as just kind of a breakdown of volume by route. Okay, then we'll skip the tokenomics. We'll end here, then I'll try to address a couple questions. Security mechanism, slashing stake. Yes, so great question, Rui. We hold the takers side of the trade in the contract until the challenge window is over. We're working to, the challenge window is going to vary some contract by chain by chain, just based on reorg risk. But we are always kind of looking at how to make those times shorter. We're also sort of exploring restaking to essentially allow third parties to also underwrite makers, which will allow for even shorter challenge windows. The capital efficiency comes down to how long of a challenge window we use. It is EVM only for now. Solana's under development, but yeah, and we are onboarding more solvers. We have about 4 solvers inside the system today. Stables are the easiest to solve for, and it's also like, given that the search space is all assets on all chains, it was a natural place for us to start. Cool. Yeah, how are we on time? I think we are probably over. Yeah, we're over.
You've
Cool.
got one more minute if you want, but up to you. Also, realizing your video is disabled, if you'd like to, no pressure, you're welcome to share as well.
Oh, let me get that on. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to have that. Okay. My apologies.
All good.
Cool. So we can hit the tokenomics briefly, just because this is interesting. We're pretty big. So if you look at, from a token, we'll have like constant low inflation. Generally, emissions will go to market makers or solvers for like filling routes. Token holders will vote on like which pairs get emissions. What this implicitly does is auctions off the value of the liquidity to the issuers who need it most. And so it allows emerging assets and emerging chains to bootstrap liquidity, which otherwise wouldn't be there in terms of volume alone. Adding tighter spreads and more depth, making it easier to onboard users. This is pretty similar. Curve kind of pioneered this approach. We're going with linear emissions as opposed to like exponentially decaying emissions. We thought that was a mistake on their side. I mean, and they just made everything obscenely complex as well. If the emissions decay, basically, there's less of a reason to hold the token over time. But yeah, so that's kind of our plan there. Aerodrome uses a similar system as well. Cool. Okay.
All right, awesome. So that is bang on time. Sam, thank you so much. Super excited. Post launch, see how things grow. Next we have Luffy from Kinn. And Luffy, if you're able to raise your hand, actually. Awesome, you're the co-host. Great. Yeah, and eager for Luffy to share a bit more about Luffy. They're a DeFi automation platform that has some really exciting strategies and awesome TVL that's just been kind of killing it. So without further ado, Luffy, let's get you started.
Hey, thanks, guys. You hear me, by the way?
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Let me share the screen. Hey, thanks for joining. So, Kinn. Kinn is the middle layer of DeFi. Bit about the team. Let's see, I'm the founder of Kinn. So, um, I um, after working with Inshah for a while, I moved to Stanford University and Computer System Lab, working in the direction of supercomputing architecture. And I joined crypto end of 2017, working on different arbitrage strategies, starting from CeFi into DeFi. And the team of Kinn is large compared to most of the DeFi teams. We have over 20 different employees working together for over 5 years. Most of them have been graduating from top schools across different continents. So with a history about Kinn, we launched Kinn in the second quarter of 2022 as a yield strategy platform after working on various strategy for over 2 years. In about 2 years, we grew the TVL to $180 million without issuing a token and built a pretty solid network within DeFi with strong recognition. We're also integrated by a bunch of prominent crypto platforms like Ledger, OKX, MatrixPort. About 2 months ago, we started to upgrade the entire platform to yield layer. So the idea of upgrading the platform to yield layer stems from an internal strategy called hybrid long short. I've been working internally for about a year. The hosted about $100 million TVL, purely from select crypto funds and protocol treasuries. And the shared similarities with Ethereum strategy, but it's way more advanced, boasting 50%, 100% higher organic APY. It accommodates almost all mainstream tokens, starting from stablecoin to rapid BTC, and it's pretty much DeFi native solution. So in the past 2.5 months, over 20 different decentralized protocols have been in deep discussion with us for using this product as the underlying yield source to drive their growth, including different stable coins. PayPal for their PYUSD is one of them, and some other best names stable coins. And for layer twos, the largest LSP, and also the most promising LRTs, and a bunch of other DeFi protocols. Now, this prompted us to rethink the yield demand of organization in decentralized world. We did see a trend of decentralized organizations seeking yields on top of their tokens, protocols, and for their treasuries. But it's not easy to achieve that. To make an analogy, if RPC node service providers, they are saving about 50% of the cost in terms of the time and bandwidth for different teams building and maintaining their own RPC nodes. Kinn, through the decentralized trade layer, yield layer, could save up to 90% of decentralized organizations' effort and time for pursuing the yield they want. So here is the definition of a yield layer from Kinn. It is a virtual layer that consolidates, reorganizes, and redistributes the scalable and sustainable crypto yield sources, with the objective of powering the entire industry with a unified and significantly improved yield source accessibility. This is how this is an overview of yield architecture from Kinn. As you can see here, the yield layer of DeFi spans the entire DeFi stack and the CeFi markets. It accepts the yield sources selected once, mostly sustainable and scalable one, and fitted it into four different modules sequentially. So starting from the infrastructure built to access and consolidating all those yields. The consolidated yield sources are then reorganized. The reorganization module adopts a lot of the components from a DeFi stack and CeFi markets, like DeFi primitives, oracles, some of the CeFi markets. And there were 3 steps involved in the reorganization of the consolidated yield sources: strategy design, implementation of the strategy, and runtime monitoring. The former two, they are cloud source to a certain extent. And the outcome of this step is the structured yields. Then the structured yields will be fed to the next module to redistribute the yields to different tokens with desired yields. Last step, written abstraction will be used to provide a chain agnostic yield. The targeted audience of the yield layer apparently decentralized organizations, starting from the protocols who would like to drive growth and ecosystem through the yields, stable coins, a bunch of them. Ethereum is one of the typical example. LSTs and ORTs, I mean, a lot of them have been building their own ecosystem and trying to use the yield to accelerate their growth. Lido is a typical example. DePHY is another one. Protocols provide native yields like Blast, Layer 2s, and other Layer 2s like Mantle. They're also typical examples. DeFi protocols will provide a native yield to their depositors are also one example. Treasury managers for different DAOs for different protocols, they are typical targets. And we're also targeting retail users. In the long term, our focus will be on non-crypto users through the cooperation with RWA, regulator RWA tokenizers like PayPal, which we're working with. The go-to-market strategy. For the decentralized organizations, the go-to-market strategies are straightforward. Kinn spots constantly the faster growing promising DeFi protocol, and on average, in the start of the network, Kinn has been built in the past couple of years. Kinn works pretty closely with those promising and fast-growing protocols, and build yield layer for their tokens to accelerate their growth, and meanwhile benefits from their growth. A typical example is Kinn is currently pursuing an opportunity, a huge growth opportunity presented by Lido Alliance and symbiotic-based ORTs. Kinn is working with Lido and the most promising symbiotic-based ORTs to ship the yield layer for them and enjoy the growth from their growth. So this is approximately how Kinn looks like. Let me just share the demo. Oh, something. Try again. This is how it looks like. Here you have 4 options here. Here's a token you want to choose to accept the yields. And here is the chains you want to directly yields to. And here is the yield sources you would like to choose. And in the end, you choose one of the strategies to execute all those processes. So with this combination, you can direct the yields, the selected yield sources to different tokens and to different networks you like. And on the right side, for the selected combination and select yield sources, you will see the illustration of all your positions and other parameters. Yeah. Okay. Open for the questions.
Unfortunately, we don't have time for questions, but
Okay, cool.
Luffy, thank you. Again, as mentioned, excited by all the traction that you've been getting, and
Appreciate it.
appreciate it. And now we're going to switch tracks from DeFi to scalability and infrastructure. So we've got Aaron from Turbo Protocol, and he's been building an awesome parallelized EVM stack. Aaron also co-teaches the course with us. So with that, Aaron, let's have you get started. Okay, and if you want to share video, you should be able to, but no pressure.
Aaron, you should be able to unmute yourself
Yeah.
and turn on video if you want to. I saw like you unmute yourself, but there's no sound.
Hey guys, I seem to be having some technical difficulties with the camera. Let's just try one thing, otherwise we'll just go without it.
Okay. Thanks, Aaron.
All right, I think let's just roll without it. Apologies here. Gil, thank you for the introduction. And I'm really thrilled to talk with everyone about Turbo Protocol today. We're building a parallel EVM, as Gil mentioned. And what it really is it's interactive speed Ethereum for AI. And I'll dive more into that in a bit. But before I do, I really want to talk about the team that's building this because I think it's real important. So starting with our CTO, Chris, he came from Tsinghua University and he's just very, very smart. So for folks who don't know, Tsinghua is the top university in China, and getting into Tsinghua is harder than getting into Stanford. On top of that, Chris is in the Yao class, the top 40 CS students at Tsinghua, and so he's just very capable. Chris is currently finishing up his PhD at McGill, and his research area is ZK and MEV, and he's also a former blockchain founder, starting a ZK chain. Chris has brought some of his friends with him, Jagger and Gavin. Jagger is also from McGill. He dropped out of his PhD to work on a variety of ZK and blockchain infrastructure projects. He has several years of practical implementation experience and is just a great asset to the team. And then Gavin has been building databases for the last 20 years. And it turns out that building databases is actually really important when you're building a parallel EVM. So we're very heavy on database expertise because it matters. Gavin's been building database systems both before blockchains in traditional settings and now distributed blockchain databases as well. We're being advised by Karen Pieper, who's from Stanford and earned her PhD there. Her PhD thesis is still used today. So anytime you use an ASIC, the layout for that ASIC is done using theory that was developed in Karen's thesis. It's one of the few PhD theses that they just can't keep in stock. Since then, she's been building distributed databases, some of the largest ones in the world, at Amazon and Facebook. And Karen really, really understands how to tune large-scale computing systems in a way that's quite unique. Stefano Burri recently joined us as head of ecosystem. Until, I guess, last week, he was running the long hash accelerator for blockchain companies. And he's incubated several hundred companies in this space and has a lot of crypto expertise. Prior to that, he was a consultant at McKinsey and also has commodities trading experience, which of course is relevant in blockchain. And then my background is a Stanford EE PhD. My thesis was in AI, but I got into AI before it was popular. This was back in 2008 when I was in grad school. And so I really had to build neural networks from the ground up on GPUs. We didn't have all of the incredible tools that are out there today. After grad school, I was at a multi-strat hedge fund. We were fundamental investors, and I was using machine learning to help inform fundamental investment decisions. I've started multiple venture-backed companies, first with the US Air Force doing AI cybersecurity, then ZK DevOps. And lastly, I teach the blockchain entrepreneurship course at Stanford with Kinn, Gil, and Stephen. Now, let's jump into Turbo. This is the exciting part. So look, I think many of you have probably heard about parallel EVMs recently. And one of the claims that's going around is usually something like, hey, we have 1 million TPS. And that sounds like an impressive number, but you have to question how you get there. So 1 million TPS, well, that's actually pretty easy, right? I just take an EVM bytecode interpreter, and then I find the fastest computer I can, and then I write some easily parallelizable code in Solidity. I push it out as EVM bytecode, and then I tell the computer to go execute. That's great. And of course, at that point, I've lost the entire point of having a blockchain. I've lost the entire Ethereum ecosystem. I've lost the security models. I've lost the data structures. And so you can get as much performance as you want, but you have to ask at what cost. Now, I do think parallel EVM is important because we do need additional computation capabilities as you think about emerging AI applications that are on chain. It could even be, even if you're not running the model on chain, even if you want to verify a sort of complicated proof, having more compute available to do the proof verification can be very, very useful. So we do think this is important. And consequently, that's what we're doing, is we're keeping the EVM equivalence, we're keeping the tested security model of Ethereum, but we're really enhancing the performance through parallelism and through a bunch of other computer science tricks. And this is going to help enable you build more complicated dApps than you can build today. So using Turbo Protocol, you can build apps that you just couldn't build on current infrastructure, including these new AI-centric workloads. We're working with a great set of partners. I've been thrilled both with our community partners, AltLayer, Caldera, SocialScan, and also with our investors as well. They've been tremendously supportive, helping launch this company. And last, Turbo wants you, okay? Dead or alive, hopefully alive. We're looking for 5 design and validation partners. And so these are AI projects in the blockchain space. There are other uses for high performance blockchains as well. And what we will do is we'll work closely with your engineering team to make sure that your project is successful and has a high throughput blockchain that really works for your use case. So this is a very hands-on program where we get to build the blockchain that you want for your use case. And we're not going to onboard 50 or 100 partners. We really want this to be tightly focused. So if any of this sounds interesting, by all means, get in touch. The QR code will send you to our website, which has a contact form. That's the best way to contact me and the rest of the team. You can also email hello@turboprotocol.xyz.
Awesome. Aaron, thank you so much. With that, we're going to jump next to the next team. And Kinn, who unfortunately his Zoom had frozen, is back and has been back. So Kinn founded the Accelerator. He founded the course we teach. He founded the event series. Kinn, I will let you take over from here and introduce our next team.
Sounds good. Thank you, Gil. Awesome. Yeah, as you said, on the Accelerator, created a course and also the BAS conference. And previously, I was involved with blockchain entrepreneurship, quite some experience there, and also as a product manager, a master in management science engineering at Stanford. That being said, I'm going to introduce the next team. So excited to share with you guys Inshah, a Sharia-compliant Ethereum staking for Middle Eastern, North Africa, and Southeast Asia. That being said, I'm going to make them a co-host so that you can take it from here. Gil, can you mute yourself?
Cool. Let me share my screen. Okay. Awesome. And lower my hand here. Okay. Alrighty. Well, hey guys, my name is Tarek, and we're building Sharia-compliant Ethereum staking. I'm a co-founder here at Inshah. So a little bit of background on Sharia-compliant finance. It's a class of financial instruments that is used by over 2 billion, especially Muslims around the world. And it's premised on three things, which is it's ethical, lower risk, and the main thing is that it's 0% interest. So Sharia-compliant finance has garnered a lot of interest around the world, not just from Muslims, but also a lot of TradFi institutions, including HSBC and Goldman Sachs, banks which have Sharia-compliant departments and entire class of Sharia-compliant assets.
I
There's
think
been huge
you're breaking up a little bit, so maybe we cut your video just to get the audio good here. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Let me do this video here. All right, let me know if there are any issues still.
Yep, you sound a lot better.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so as I was saying, the Sharia-compliant financial industry has been growing phenomenally in the past decade. So over the past 10 years, it's grown to be a $4.5 trillion industry, and especially with those amount of assets under management. And this is primarily based in as Kinn mentioned, and Southeast Asia and South Asia and a few other regions around the world. As crypto has been growing as well, the volumes in those regions have been growing very fast as well. And they account for about 20 to 25% of global crypto volume. The problem is that DeFi, as it stands today, does not offer a lot of Sharia-compliant assets, if any at all. And the biggest DeFi protocols, or the biggest sector of DeFi, which is Ethereum staking, and there's about $124 billion of Ethereum that's currently staked, is itself not Sharia compliant, according to many experts in the field. And the reason for that is because when you stake, you are actually executing and validating many interest-based transactions from protocols like Aave, Compound, MakerDAO, among many other protocols. So the solution that we are building at Inshah is Sharia-compliant Ethereum staking. And it's as simple as it sounds, but it takes a lot of groundwork from the leg up. So what we have, what we are building from in-house is our own custom builder and validator network that will filter out interest-based transactions and only validate and execute the interest-free transactions, essentially enabling anyone who stakes with us to get Sharia-compliant yield. Now, that yield, the awesome part about it is that we are able to get yield that is equivalent to standard staking protocols like Rocket Pool and Lido. So there's zero yield loss from actually staking in a Sharia-compliant way. We're pretty early in the process. We just started accepting early deposits 2 to 3 weeks ago, but there's so much interest. We've already gotten about 2.2 million in early deposit commitments. And our goal by 1 year after launching, which our launch will be sometime in the fall, our goal for 1 year post-launch is 1 billion in our protocol by partnering with exchanges and funds, especially Sharia-compliant funds, that are in the region and we are already in talks with. And using this staking protocol as just a first wedge into an entire suite of Sharia-compliant assets, DeFi assets, including yield-bearing stablecoins and much more. Our team, myself, I'm the CEO here. I've led product and engineering across startups and Google, where I helped increase the watch time at YouTube by 1 billion+ hours. I'm very blessed to be working with a awesome CTO and my best friend for over 10 years now, Amar, who's the founder of a still successful and running healthcare startup, and he founded and scaled that to millions in revenue. And we've hired out a team of people, excellent people in crypto, including Mohammed Fuda, who was a partner, most recently a partner at Alliance DAO. We've already raised our seed round of 2.7 million from some of the best folks in the space, including Alliance DAO, the team behind Stanford Blockchain Accelerator, and many, many others. So what we are looking for today is to work with early liquidity partners. So we're raising liquidity before we take this protocol public. If you're interested in not just staking yield, Ethereum staking yield that matches the best in class, but also a lot of other goodies like earning points towards our protocol and much more, and being a supporter of a entire nascent industry here with Sharia-compliant DeFi, feel free to reach out. I'll drop my Telegram and email in the chat. That's it for me.
Awesome. Thank you for the presentation. So next we have XTrace, private, collaborative, and decentralized AI agent protocol. And we have Felix. I'm gonna make him a co-host. So the floor is yours.
Okay, can everyone see my screen? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's start. Hello, everyone. Thank you, SBA, for the intro and inviting us to present today. We are really happy to be here. And we are XTrace, a private, collaborative, decentralized AI agent protocol. So I'm Felix Mann from XTrace, and this is my co-founder, Liwen Ouyang. We are two Stanford graduates with expertise in AI, distributed system, and cryptography. And now let's dive right into the problem. So extensive AI research has emphasized the power of more agents, more context data, and multi-agent collaboration for yielding high-quality results. However, centralizing all of this to scale will be challenging due to cost, time, and inaccessibility of computation power and proprietary data. So we believe that the fusion of AI, blockchain, and cryptography will pave the way to a decentralized and trustless AI collaboration network that yields better performance with a fractional cost. And this is where XTrace protocol comes in. The XTrace protocol will include three parties: the queriers, the data providers, and the agent team providers. And however, to coordinate all of them, XTrace will need to address three core problems: privacy, trust, and scalability. First, how can the querier preserve his query private? And how does the data provider maintain data security? And second, how can the queriers be confident about the source of data retrieved by the AI agents, as well as the quality of those agents? And third, how can queriers orchestrate an AI agent team efficiently and economically? And XTrace will be the solution to all of this. XTrace protocol will establish a network of trust among users, agents, and data provider. A core building block of our protocol is RAG. And RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. Essentially, RAG optimizes LLM inference by referencing authoritative data sources to ensure the responses are reliable and traceable. But we didn't just stop here. We've created XRAG, which takes RAG to the next level by adding both zero-knowledge computation and fully homomorphic encryption. This means that the retrieval process is not only private and secure, but also verifiable. So in the XTrace protocol, XRAG will give LLM source they can cite, like footnote in a research paper. So users can now check any claims through cryptography, and that builds trust. XTrace isn't just about access, it's also about scale, efficiency, and cross-domain collaboration. XTrace orchestrates an expansive network of parallel agent clusters concurrently across credible institutions to provide both expertise and scale. So we have built out many tech during the process, and then we'll give out the three most important ones that we're proud of. And then this includes ZK MPI, Agent Cluster Network, and XRAG. So ZK MPI will be a message passing interface for horizontal, scalable, and parallel execution of zero-knowledge execution. By doing so, we improve the speed of ZK execution and break the execution to multiple computation traces. Now, user will have modular control over the security by just using a subset of the computation trace to prove, instead of proving the whole computation trace, which costs very high computation cost. So this enables practical heavy computations for AI. And the second one will be agent cluster network. It'll be the backbone for concurrent agents communication and collaboration. And it'll be achieved through our zero-knowledge distributed file system. And XRAG will be the private, verifiable, and vector database, which combines both FHE and ZK to ensure privacy and verifiability. And now we'll give a deep dive into XRAG. So the user will first start with a prompt and a specific XRAG database they want to work with. And then we'll do the XTrace embedding and FHE encryption locally to the user. And then we'll only broadcast the encrypted query out through the XTrace router to the whole cluster of agent cluster network and XRAG marketplace. So that there's no way for anyone in the net to learn about the user's encrypted query. And then the XRAG will have a ZK VM inside it. And then it'll return the encrypted results on which only the users can decrypt. And a ZK proof of signature attestation and the relevant data retrieval. So this scheme ensures both privacy and integrity of the process because only encrypted FHE ciphertext will be broadcast to the network, as I said above, and then only to the XRAG marketplace. And ZK will prove the integrity of signature attestation and correct retrieval. And now we'll dive right into the demo. So imagine you want to invest in a company, let's say XTrace, and then you're really interested in learning about ZK DFS after the tech brief. You can choose XTrace's XRAG database to query about the ZK DFS. So here's a demo of a user asking about XTrace ZK DFS locally using a Python client. And now XTrace will start doing embedding of the query and the homomorphic encryption on the user side locally. And only the encrypted query will be broadcasted to the XTrace network. And as you can see, here is the encrypted query. And then the encrypted result will be retrieved information from XRAG. So all of the ciphertext here, and these ciphertexts are only decryptable by the user. And after decryption, user will be able to see the context of the result. And the data attestation proof will be the signature attestation to the XRAG dataset. And the trace of retrieval will be the ZK proof of correct retrieval using the similarity matrix. And the agent response right now is the inference of the underlying LLM using trusted verifiable source from XRAG database while maintaining the privacy and confidentiality of the user. We also provide a brief overview of how the participant in the XTrace protocol could monetize. The XRAG providers, model providers, and agentic designers will all get incentives every time their data, models, or execution plan are chosen by the XTrace router. And the XTrace router will be a verifiable program. And the data providers in the XTrace network don't monetize through just one-time selling of their data to train the AI models. Instead, they can benefit from a continuous revenue stream every time their data is used in context for inference, while still maintaining their data ownership. So in summary, XTrace not only provides privacy and verifiability into the agent collaboration network, but also immense monetization opportunities for people from all over the world across all sectors to contribute their unique creative output to the agent network. So thank you very much for your attention. Please reach out to me with any questions or feedback.
Awesome. Thank you, Felix, for the presentation. Cool. So the next, we have a Passport protocol of the modular chain abstraction protocol. That being said, promote Krish to be a co-host. Actually, Krish, can you raise your hand? And this is. Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. Okay, perfect. All right, let me start.
Let me start sharing my screen. Okay, ready to get started. Hey everyone, I'm Krish, the co-founder of OXPass. We're building Password Protocol, which is a modular chain abstraction protocol. So to set the context, I think we're all aware of this. Users have modern UX expectations today. They want to be able to not deal with seed phrases, automate transactions, have gasless transactions, and so on. But developer needs are also evolving at the same time. They want to be able to provide these benefits in their apps at a high performance with low cost, but increasing flexibility as well. Developers want to be able to customize their auth, recovery policies, and even sometimes sign without always needing the user's input. And we've seen a lot of account standards pop up to solve these. We've had embedded accounts over the last few years to solve these. We've also had smart accounts through account abstraction and so on. But as we move into a multi-rollup and multi-ecosystem world, they just are insufficient and provide outdated UX. Think about this example. Let's say you're using dApps on both Solana and Base. And you're using 4 dApps. That means you'd have to manage keys for 4 different accounts, transfer between these accounts, bridge assets from a CEX, ensure sufficient funds for gas, and so on. But in an ideal world, all of this should boil down to just 3 steps: create, fund, and transact. We call this account Utopia, and that's a universal account. A universal account is something that can provide all of these benefits, modern UX, in a multi-ecosystem world, while still being performant, cost-effective, and flexible for developers. So let's start off with the EOA, the traditional self-custodied EOA. It's just a key pair. And as we can see, it's tied to a particular chain and ecosystem. Sure, it's performant and cost-effective, but it's inflexible. You have to authenticate with the EOA and sign every single transaction. So to solve this problem, we saw the shared custody providers, EOAs. So these are solutions like Web3 Auth, Privy, and so on. They split the key between the user and their backend. User always has 2 shares. And so we saw some benefits from this, like social logins and so on. It's also performant and cost-effective because it's off-chain, but it doesn't work in a multi-ecosystem world because these EOAs are still tied to a particular chain or ecosystem, and they're still inflexible. You know, developers can't customize or program the auth or signing logic because the user's input is always required. So then smart accounts were created to solve these problems. We had a lot of UX benefits from them: social logins, transaction batching, gas sponsorships, etc. They're also very flexible because you can actually customize the auth and signing logic right on chain. But again, they're tied to a particular chain and ecosystem, and their performance and cost is limited by the chain that they're on. And fundamentally, the reason for this is because these accounts are tightly coupled to the ecosystems that they're tied to. And so they have no visibility into accounts in other ecosystems. And if there are any benefits, they're just limited by the chain that they're on. So our solution to this was to decouple the account into its own ecosystem. And that is a chain abstracted virtual universal account where the universal account and its operations are bundled into its own ecosystem. And so now you have multi-ecosystem visibility, but at the same time, you can provide smart account like UX benefits and even go beyond that actually at EOA like performance and cost. And Password Protocol is a modular and decentralized chain abstraction protocol to create such universal accounts. And there's 3 layers to it. There's the orchestrator layer, a solver layer, and a key management layer, all modular and can be decentralized. The orchestrator layer actually maintains what we call a hierarchical account model, where there's a virtual universal account that has child accounts on respective chains that the users use. And the keys of those are then managed by underlying key management layer. Then we have the orchestrator layer also handling flexibility for the developers, because developers can actually write custom auth or recovery policies and even programmatically automate transactions, sign transactions, and globally identify the user all through the orchestrator. All of these rules can be coded into the orchestrator. And all of these are off-chain, but they're still trustless and non-custodial because they're enforced by enclaves. So it's all hardware enforced. And then we have an underlying key management layer to secure the child account keys. And it supports a high threat model because it's distributed in nature. And a big UX benefit here is that it's seedless. The users don't have to care about a recovery or device share. And we're actually currently the fastest distributed key management network in the market, sub-second performance. And finally, we have the solver layer, which is at the universal account layer responsible for sequencing, batching transactions across chains and dApps, And they offer a lot more advanced UX benefits because it's off-chain. They can sponsor gas, even auto bridge across ecosystems, auto swap across accounts. So putting it all together, Password Protocol with these 3 layers actually treats every account as its own mini rollup and a personal sequencer. And so that means you can execute complex transactions in just one step. For example, a developer might want to build an account that mints a Solana NFT when it's below a certain price, even when the user has ETH in an EVM wallet. And all of this can be done within just one step. We're actually live on testnet today. We have the orchestrator and the key management layers out. And it's already a step ahead of the shared custody EOA solutions because number one, we're fully programmable. Developers can write custom auth recovery policies, programmatically sign transactions. We can even identify users across chains and ecosystems. And on the UX front, we're seedless because users don't have to worry about a recovery or device share anymore. And we've been working with the likes of Collabland, which has 10 million plus wallet connections. There are 50K communities. Patch Wallet, the largest account abstraction wallet on Polygon, is also signed with us. We're on testnet. We have 15 plus pre-launch customers and estimated 300K plus accounts. Developers love us as well. We've had people write articles about why they're choosing us over other protocols, publicly talking about us, and so on. If you want to check us out, you can go to demo.0xpass.io, Password Protocol in action. And this is our team. Kinn and I are friends for 10 years. I was previously at Stanford. Kinn led an engineering team at Uber. We previously raised a $1.8 million pre-seed, and we're now looking to fundraise again.
Awesome. Thank you, Krish. Great prezo and exciting to see all the progress. Let's see. Up next, Shuo, can you put your hand up? There it is. And Kun, can you make Shuo the co-host? Quickly, I'm excited to introduce UXLink, which is a social platform for mass adoption, aiming to be a social DEX and social infrastructure to Web3. So with that, I'll introduce Shuo for the presentation. Take it away.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me introduce UXLink. UXLink is the largest Web3 social platform and infrastructure. Talking about social platform and infrastructure, the network effects matters. I will show the attractions we have and also the status about where we are. For now, we are the first SocialFi project surpass 10 million user base. And we also have one of the largest holder space in SocialFi. We have about 6 million holders of our UXLink assets. And also our tokens is also our business model. Both developers and users need to hold and pay UXLink for their usage of our protocols, traffic, data, and up to now, we have already achieved break-even. So you can see the 30-day unique active address. We are top of all the SocialFi projects. Actually, we are ranked #1 among all the dApps. Then let me introduce the logic and details of our project. In terms of social, what we do is bidirectional social relationship. Make it simple. We form a social layer just like Facebook, WeChat, not like Twitter and say Weibo. This is what we do, different from other SocialFi projects on the market. As a result, because of the fundamental social relationships are different, the applications, data, all different. For example, The Twitter type of relationship is more for marketing purpose, but the Facebook, WeChat type of social relationship are more for transactions. That's why one of our goal is to be a social DEX. In terms of products, we have two layers. One layer is DEP user layer. We have Discover, we have social DEX, and we support third-party DEPs and developers to build on our social network. Say Discover DEP enable our users to discover and engage with different projects. Social DEX, we have pre-markets, we have points, and also swaps. For now, we have 10, we just launched the social DEX aggregator for about a week, and we have about 10,000 transactions per day. And in terms of the more in-depth, the social layer, the infrastructure part, we have RWS protocol, which means real world social network protocol. We have more than one protocols there for developers to utilize. And we also very rich both on-chain and off-chain data. And about our current data is this page. I just want to highlight 4 things. One is total registered users. Again, talking about social projects, no matter it's Web2, it's Web3, user base and network effects matter. That's why we care this data tracking. We have more than 10 million registered users. It's not just wallets. We have much more wallets than that. It's a combination of wallets and social account. We try our best to define individuals, real persons. So we have 3 criteria. One is 100% of our users are invitation only. They must be invited by someone they know and someone belong to our UXLink network. This is the first step. Second step, we will do the human-machine interaction to avoid bots. The third thing is the users must use our products. After the 3-step filtering, we have, for now, it's about 11 million. And among the 11 million users, more than 1 million daily active. This is one thing. The second thing is we organize all our users and traffic into groups. For now, we have 110,000 groups. The functions of the groups are twofold. One is we will recommend our users to join the groups where they can find someone they know, or ideally someone invited them to join our network. As a result, they will feel safe, familiar with the Web3 environment. As you know, although the Web3 is trustless, is for trust, but still there are facts every day. There are still fears within the user's mind. The second function of groups is a very good interaction scenario. Our users can talk about news, investment, all kinds of discussions about crypto, and also decentralized customer service. And the third thing is on-chain activity. As I mentioned before, our daily active wallets on-chain is about 500,000, and we have about 6 million holders. The fourth thing is our ecosystem partners. We have partnership with more than 100 partners like DePHY, AI, and we also work with some very established big partners like Binance Web3 Wallet and OKX Web3 Wallet. We do the co-promotion with them, and up to now, we break the record of both OKX Wallet and Binance Web3 Wallet. And then it's about myself and our team, very brief. I'm also a Stanford alum, and I have 8 to 9 years entrepreneurial experience, most in the social field. So before this project, I also worked as a founder and CEO of a Web2 social project called Happy Sharing, which is a social and socialized trading platform. We achieved more than 100 million unique users. And my team worked with me for now it's about 5 years. We across both Web2 and Web3. Our team start to engage in Web3 since 2018. We already have 3 rounds of investment. First round back to 2022. And the second round is very early this year, January, and the third round is early May of this year. And this is our investors. The first line is our leading investors like 7X, HashKey, OKX Ventures, Sequoia, and the second line is selective investors like MatrixPod, Manifold, Cypher. Okay, that's it. That's the very brief introduction of UXLink. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and we welcome all kinds of partnership. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And super exciting stuff. Let's see. Next up, we have CharacterX. CharacterX is a decentralized synthetic social network that connects human beings and AI beings. It's my pleasure to introduce Renee, who will be coming up on stage momentarily, as soon as we click all these buttons we have to click.
Renee, you're already a host, a co-host. You should be able to unmute yourself.
Renee, can you unmute
hi.
and share your screen?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
The screen right now. Oh, I can share the screen, right?
And then Shuo, can you unshare your screen?
I think I can actually do that. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And if you'd like to share video, you're welcome to, but
Yeah, sure. Hi guys, this is Renee. I'm also a Stanford alumni. I graduated a few years ago, and actually at that time I was a literature student because I'm really curious and really passionate about studying the relationship, the emotional, social, and economic relationship between AI and machine in the new age. And surprisingly, or maybe unsurprisingly, after a few years, my academic passion actually turned into a real-life project, CharacterX. We define it as a synthetic social network decentralized synthetic social network, and we are building the platform and infrastructure for the democratic AI social economy. We started our project last year, September, and we started out as a social platform where you can generate your own AI avatars, and also you can explore and interact with other people's AI creations. And in a little more than half a year, we attracted 5 million registered users, and we also won the Solana Hackathon Awards early this year. Our traction is really solid. We have more than 1 million application downloads. We have an average DAU of 100K users. And we have a lot of users creating their own AI avatars in our platform. That's more than 150K. The user interaction is also very high quality. They have a really high retention rate. They're also spending 1 hour on average each day on our platform. So that's why we have a really high rating of almost close to 5 stars in the App Store, even when we have such a large user base. We, at the same time, we accumulated a really large community base. We have a 400K community so far. And again, due to our great performance and our design of our future structure for the AI economy, we won the Solana Hackathon Awards. We got an honorable mention that's among top 8% globally. And also we won the top 3 in the Asian region. But before I go into how exactly we structure for the future AI social economy, I would like to share a little bit how exactly our application looked today and why it attracted so many users. So as you can see, basically you can explore and create all these characters, and some of them are more well-crafted, while some of them are more like just common users' portrayal of themselves. Many of them are actually basically just creating characters out of their real-life profile, which is very touching to me. It's their own way of representing their digital self. And also, not just only text-based conversations, we allow a diversity of ways for interaction, such as we have story cards where users can create their own story scenario for specific characters. And apart from that, we support multimodal experiences, such as sending photos with each other. As you can see, during your conversation, based on your conversation content, characters can send you photos based on their image model. Oh, by the way, we also blur the image to make people make payments, and it's actually a very good strategy as well. And we have also other experiences like a voice call, etc. And in the long run, we want users and also developers to design their own scenarios for the AI interaction. Maybe it's not just the story card; it can be more expanded, like a mini game, etc. All these are in our long-term plan. And right now, I would like to introduce you a specific character we just went online recently. This is a meme coin, Bunk, from Solana. What's special about this character is that it's actually co-created by our CharacterX community. So all the tone, all the way of conversation, and all the knowledge behind this Bunk character is actually all shared and provided by our community. And that's a really well-received campaign, and the people are looking forward to more co-creation of the AI characters. And that's exactly what we want to do, what we want to design for the future platform. The Bunk really likes himself and also believe that Solana is the best. So that's closely related to our strategy, our focus on our community. Our traction, of course, is great, but what I think matters more is that we can really see that people the real feedbacks of our community is that they're actually building really strong emotional bondings with all the characters. Some of them say that the CharacterX has been with them through their darkest day, and many of them mentioned that their favorite character is their own AI, the AI created by themselves. Also, people mention about the great user experience and also the vision about the synthetic future together with the communities. So all these are really good feedbacks. And we discovered some real needs for decentralization among all their feedbacks. On the one hand, people are really in want of ownership and even portability of their digital relationship. As you see, they are having a really deep bonding with them. And secondly is that all of them want participation, a democratic participation in the AI social economy, even when some of them are not AI experts, but they still want to contribute in the community in their own way. And that's why we're building, for the next phase, we're building what we define as a synthetic DID layer. We're using Solana token extension to make each AI character own their own wallet. By owning their wallet, they can have ownership and access to their own assets, including their memories and relationship with other users, their AI assets, their social assets, and more importantly, is when their characters are making profits, they get to share the profits with the community. And that's the part about the democratic participation in the AI economy. We're building an extra platform called XFriends. By the way, that's the one that's won the Solana hackathon. In the XFriends platform, you can trade shares of the characters. And by becoming a shareholder of it, you not only share the revenue, but also you become a decision maker by voting for the long-term development of the characters. That's how we want to let users not co-create characters through specific campaigns, but on a larger scale, and they can customize a lot of things about how you interact with the character, how to split shares, how to design, how to use the profits made by the characters. All these you need to be the shareholder of the AI characters. And in the longer run, we want to extend our build the synthetic DID layer to a larger scale, beyond our ecosystem. We want to extend it to maybe meme coin communities, other gamings, other social DApps, etc. So that is to say, while we're building this really cool application, along the way, we're also building very important infrastructure for AI social economy that could probably help not only the Solana ecosystem, but perhaps for the larger crypto communities in the long run. And that is the vision we are holding. And our team is a very strong team with a lot of members from social application background, myself included, and also AI experts and even researchers on AI and social. So yeah, I'm very happy if you're interested in our project and willing to discuss more afterwards.
Amazing, Renee. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And it's been awesome to watch the progress of CharacterX over the past few months. It's also been a lot of fun to play with. Great. Next up, we have Jen Woods from Callback. Callback is a reward and loyalty platform for local merchants and shoppers with its initial market foothold in Tokyo. So take it away, Jen.
All good. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Hello, everybody. I'm Gen, one of the co-founders of Callback, and we are building a loyalty program for independent stores. Quickly about our team, myself and Dan, Stanford class of 2020, and Dylan came across from Palantir, and these are some of our investors to date. So what is the opportunity that we see? We are focused on the loyalty market in Japan. And what we see is a very large and outdated loyalty points industry of $11 billion. This is particularly interesting because there's widespread understanding of points, but at the same time, we think a lot of these points programs look and feel pretty much exactly the same. And they've been that way for a very long time. So we think there's a huge opportunity to shake things up. A lot of these points programs and existing solutions also focus primarily on larger chains. So we think there's a huge underserved segment of these small to medium-sized retail stores, of which there are 527,000 in Japan. And then these existing solutions also tend to appeal to people in their late 30s, 40s. And we think there's a huge untapped opportunity with the Gen Z audience, of which there are 15.9 million in Japan. So what is the problem we're trying to solve? We've talked to a bunch of independent store owners and have sort of found some common patterns. The first is that they often struggle with retention. Larger chains have sophisticated systems to deal with retention, but independent stores tend to not have that. They often can't afford large points programs, even though they would like to be part of them. And then they also struggle to stand out on large platforms because those tend to be dominated by larger businesses with larger marketing budgets. So our solution is a loyalty program that is built specifically for independent stores. We're only letting in stores up to a certain size, and then we're building features that we think will really empower independent stores. One such example is to let stores basically collaborate and join forces. And in a lot of cases, the independent store owners are also running the day-to-day operations, so they're very busy. So it's really important that the system is easy to set up and use. And then lastly, it's free to start using. And this is made possible by kind of flipping the traditional points business model on its head, charging the end user for extra perks, and then a new kind of points architecture where we're distributing points right now to platform participants, but in the future, points will be purchasable. So concretely, how does it work? You download the Callback mobile app, you visit a Callback partner store, and then you tap the Callback NFC tag. And by doing so, you earn stamps, which are NFTs. And then as you accumulate more stamps, you unlock rewards with that partner. And then you also earn points on top of this. And these points you can spend for extra rewards at other partner stores in our network. I wanted to share a little bit about our points architecture and why it's different to what exists in a lot of the points programs in Japan. There's a fixed supply of 300 million. And the idea is that we're distributing these points to participants over the next 2.5 years. Importantly, merchants also earn points. So they have the same allocation as they have for customers, 100 million. And this is really important to have merchants encourage their customers to join our system. The points are on-chain. They're a fungible token on Polygon. And then they're non-transferable for now, but the idea is to make them transferable in the future when we feel ready. So where can you currently use Callback? Over the past few months, we've curated a group of 25 really popular independent stores in the heart of Tokyo. The criteria we've been using is basically high foot traffic and high frequency of visits. So cafes, bars, fruit juice stands, high street grocer, salons, cookie shops. Those kind of places are our target market here. And we're seeing really strong metrics and sticky uses with just the small number of stores we have. So we're very excited to scale our partners to thousands of partners in the next couple of years. And then also target really Gen Z users. So the partners that we choose, we're basically making sure that they appeal to the Gen Z user base. And then the points will be distributed to all these participants, the end users and also the partners. And then we'll also introduce monetization through Callback Premium, which will be on the end user, and subscriptions to partners, which will also be on the end user. And then 2027 and beyond, we'll stop the issuance and make the points tradable. And the idea here is that people beyond our partner network can start purchasing and participating in our points economy. And then at this point, we think we'll be ready to expand internationally to other city centers around the world. We're raising our seed round at the moment, so we'd love to chat to anybody that might be interested. Please email us here or add me on LinkedIn. And thanks so much for all the help and mentorship, SBA team.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. It's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure. All right. We've got DePHY and Nicholas. Nicholas, can you put your hand up? Bueller. Nicholas, can you put your hand up? There we go. All right. If you unmute and turn on your video, we will get rolling. Here we go. Quickly, DeFi is the best framework to launch DePIN applications on any chain. So take it away, Nicholas.
Thank you, Steven. Hey, everyone. So here we are DeFi. So DeFi is the best developer framework for all the DePIN applications, and we are chain agnostic. And so when we think about the whole DePIN industry, we see the biggest issue right now is it's very expensive to build a DePIN applications. This is because you have to build the messaging layer between the hardware and the blockchain, and also to connecting your hardware to the blockchain. And so we broke down the cost into the manufacturing costs, and also you have a very high network usage fee comparing to Web2 services. And also the development time frame is going to be much longer, consider you need to have expertise from both Web2 and Web3. And at DeFi, we are basically hoping to drastically minimize the development cost and also the time. We are doing this through our open source hardware solutions that helps you to keep the manufacturing cost the same compared to Web2 hardwares. And also through our off-chain competition network, we are keeping down the 99% of the network usage fees, because we are going to do all the off-chain calculations and only pushing the 1% of the necessary data onto the blockchain based on a project's tokenomics model. And yeah, again, to reiterate, the three ways we are doing this is, first, we have a DeFi DID. So the DID here stands for device identity. So that's basically a way for us to verify different hardware devices. And we have the DID and the messaging layer. So messaging layer is basically off-chain computation network that's do all the tokenomics executions based on any project's tokenomics and pushing onto any blockchain. And in the second, we have a DeFi risk-taking layer. So that's basically a way we use to ensure the economic securities of all the DePIN applications building on DeFi's messaging network. And at the end, we have a open source hardware design, basically to help any hardware devices with standard interfaces like MQTT and HTTP to be able to connect to the blockchain. So let's start with our messaging layer. So in a very high level, basically when a user have an action on any of their hardware devices, we're going to have a trust wrapper which contains the device information, the action the user performed, and then we are pushing that to our relayer, which we have a analyzer that's basically to analyzing, basically doing the off-chain computation networks for the tokenomics execution, and also we have a archiver to store the data information, and we are doing this through the Nostra network. And then we are pushing that data into our ZK Oracle, and at the end to any blockchains we are hoping to push to. So right now we are only on Solana, but we are adding EVM support and also Move support very soon. And the whole process is all verifiable. This is because when we were pushing the data, we are also generating a verifiable log for each of those data, and it's all can be verified with our risk-taking layer. And in terms of our DID, so DID is basically, I think everyone probably heard about like the recent IONET drama where they weren't able to prove that they had like 500K GPUs or the level of the GPUs were the same. And so the DeFi DID here is really meant to be able to help all those ecosystem projects to prove they actually have those many hardware devices. And you can connect our universal DID systems into any of those other services like the staking layers or data marketplace or any other places. And so right now, our DID, we actually have over 10K registered devices. And so the two biggest projects on us right now is Star Power and APIS Network. One is the Star Power is a decentralized power plates, and APIS Network is a decentralized GPU project. So that's the two types of the project that DeFi works for the best: the power type DePIN applications and also the decentralized GPUs. And so we are adding the risk-taking layer to the DePIN solutions is because in order to ensure the economic securities of all the DePIN applications, they need to stake some token. But if we are staking the token of their own project, you have to provide user very high APR because the token is so volatile. You need that incentive for them to stake that. And so we are adding, so right now we're only on Solana, and we are going to be collaborating with Solana to building a risk-taking layer to basically help all those DePIN applications. They can stake their Solanas. They can restake their Solanas instead of their own token. And we think this is a better economic security solutions. This is because we are the ecosystem projects, they don't have to inflate their token so much, and also we are leveraging the economic security of the Solana. And we are also the first one to provide joint staking. So basically, if you have, let's say there's two decentralized GPU applications on us. So right now one is called Monte Carlo and one is called APIS Network. So basically, what does the joint staking here allows is that you have one GPU, and one of those, so you can use one GPU to mine two projects at the same time, right? Because your GPU is not like in Web3, in AWS, right? Your computing resource is not it's not always 100% occupied. So one is free, they can be used for other purposes. And also at DeFi, because we are using one standard types of universal IDs, and also we have those ecosystem projects that align with us, so users can leverage their hardwares to mine multiple projects at the same time, drastically increasing the mining rewards. And yeah, with DeFi, basically any developers, they can launch a DePIN projects really fast. We say that in 3 days that you can, first day you just need to pick your device protocols like Arduino, and the second day you can use in DeFi's messaging layer to connect that to the Web3. And then in the last day, you just deploy a tokenomics model and start to conduct testing. And we are building on Solana right now. It's because most of the new DePIN projects and applications are on Solana. We think that's where we can get most of our clients, but we are also adding EVM and move support. And also we have our own hardware device, we call it DeFi node. So basically the people who are purchasing this node, they are basically running a node for DeFi and also for our ecosystem projects. So they are actually going to be mining multiple rewards at the same time. And we are going to be shipping out those devices in mid-July. And right now we have over 20K submitted orders. And a little bit about the team. So I'm Nicholas. Previously, I was the PhD student at Harvard doing surgical robotics and left. And my two other co-founders, they were the ex-co-founders of Fala Network. That was one of the biggest TE network in all the Web3 projects and listed on Binance, OKX, and all the major exchanges. And this is our previous backers. And in terms of our timelines, we are in our Series A right now, and we are gonna be launching the token at the end of this year, and hoping to get over 30 ecosystem applications on us. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone. And I'm gonna put down my Telegram here, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me.
Awesome, thank you, Nicholas. And yeah, once again, amazing to see the progress in DeFi technically over the past just 6 months. It's incredible. Great. So we have last and absolutely not least, I'm excited to introduce Omkar and Koi from Nexandria. Omkar is an old colleague of mine from Coinbase, amongst other accolades. And let's see, Nexandria. Nexandria provides deeper data at unmatched speeds and costs to help protocol access subgraphs on the fly, and hedge funds create outsized DeFi investment returns. So with that, I'll turn it over to Omkar and Koi, assuming they have been enshrined with presentation power.
Yep, seems it works. Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Omkar from Nexandria. Quick background about ourselves. Nexandria, we are building next generation on-chain data infrastructure. And especially our unique secret sauce is we power subgraphs generation on the fly, which among many things like awesome infra and help you find better DeFi returns. Quick background about myself. I started working on Nexandria since October 2022. Before that, I was at Coinbase for 2 years, leading entire institutional custody platform engineering. And before that, I was at Google for 13 years, half the time built infrastructure for Google Search, Google Ads, and half the time bootstrapped shopping ad formats. My co-founder, similar story, 13 years at Google, 2 years at Coinbase. And we joke that our background is we saw a lot of crypto data problems at Coinbase, and we saw their potential solutions at Google. Before I continue, I'd like to introduce himself.
I'm Coy Byron here, head of growth at Nexandria. Been in crypto since 2015. Prior to joining Exandria, I was doing enterprise AI in Silicon Valley, mostly for Fortune 500, Global 2000 firms, as well as some government agencies. Prior to that, I was doing global management consulting out of New York, similar sort of client base and customer base, and excited to share what we're doing.
So the problem we are tackling is when it comes to on-chain data access, the data is either very slow to obtain, or it's very expensive, or it's incomplete, or inaccurate, or all of the above. And this is because the way we have, like the two options we have for crypto data access, either it's node-based or databases based. Nexandria, we solved it, and we have solved that blockchain data trilemma by inventing our own custom database or data platform, which is built from scratch. And it allows us complete data access, and by complete, I mean at arbitrary granularity down to block level. It's very fast. We have real-time streaming data, and most of the time data access latency is less than 100 milliseconds. And last but not the least, it's not expensive. We want to bring the viable unit economics, think Web 2 level to Web 3. And so our cost is 33 to 75% lower than what we have seen on the market today.
Yeah, and in terms of the two areas where we're getting the most traction, it's with protocols for our data APIs and allowing them to get those subgraphs on the fly so they don't have to maintain pipelines, have their own indexing and caching, etc. And then hedge funds, where we're helping them to create outsized returns by allowing them to get data that gives them the opportunity to create powerful trading strategies. What we're going to do next is jump to a quick demo just to show you examples of how our data can be surfaced. So, for example, right now you're looking at a portal we created for ETH, and you can see here top token moves, for example, which update every block. So there you go, it updates every block. You can also put in an ENS. So let's do SBA.ETH. And there you go, it's loading here. So for example, you have portfolio value, which is finance 1.0. We're bringing that to Web3, where we can show what you would see in your normal portfolio. And then also I'm gonna pass it to Omkar here to talk about the statement.
Yeah, another oft requested feature is statement, and you'll see that statement from Genesis till right now. And hopefully in a few seconds, if the demo got split, there you go. In 2 to 3 seconds, we could generate an entire statement since Genesis till right now of every single balance transfer. And this is not just transaction history, it's balance changes of every single type, fees, sends, and receives. At block level granularity, it's not daily or weekly, it's block level. And it's not only for ETH, it's for every single token on Ethereum address. And you will see that it has legit coins like ApeCoin or DAI, and also obscure coins like DAI Bounty. So to resume the presentation, I mean, we figured we would show you a demo instead of just using words to describe our tech. Our plans for the coming months. For the next few months, we want to continue landing design partners, land 5 to 7 additional partners, mainly DeFi protocols who want better subgraphs. And we also want to add more chains. Today we support ETH, Base, and Manta Pacific. We want to add Arbitrum and Polygon. In winter, we want to raise our next round, mainly for a few goals. One is hire more team members. Today we have only 4. Build awesome new features and even more API endpoints. And finally, like, that will allow us to scale and go after TAM. So that's it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Omkar Koi, thank you so much for that awesome prezo. And look at this, we are finishing right on time, just before 7. I want a huge shout out and thanks to all the teams who presented today. An insane amount of progress over the past 6 months within the Accelerator. It's a true joy to get to work with such talented and ambitious builders. It's also been awesome to work with Gil and Kuhn with those teams and also engage with this whole community as these teams have built and gotten feedback and input from the folks we surround ourselves with. And, a demo day, hopefully that only accelerates for these awesome teams. I'm going to close it out. Thanks for the fun stuff in the chat. I have been posting some Stanford housekeeping items in the chat. I really would ask everyone to check out all that stuff again. Quickly calling out that our next cohort will start in July. So applications are open for that. And basically after today, we're going to start reviewing them. So we're excited to meet the next group of teams that get to go through this awesome program. Please join the mailing list, right? We communicate through a bunch of channels, but the mailing list is still probably the best because we just will put things on your calendar and you can't miss them. Also, please join the Telegram group for BAS. That's also another place where we make sure people know what's going on. Finally, mark your calendars for BAS SBC in New York on August 6th. We're going to set up a Luma and send out some more information, but hey, if you want to start planning your travel, August 6th, you want to be there in New York. And then finally, we've got some stuff going on in Brussels. At GrowthCon, we're co-hosting with Hamera, which is an SBA alum team, and you can click on the Luma and see the awesome schedule, and we will be sharing some another event at the same venue that morning that's also from us, but we need to put together the details before we share it. So with that, I'll say huge thanks to everyone once again, and looking forward to seeing you at live events and of course at the next demo day. Have a good evening.